I'm sure I'll have other opportunities, God willing, in the future to serve my country, but as I told one of the people that called me, that I think I'm serving my country by being a good mayor here in Miami.
At the center of American democracy and a guiding principle of our great republic is the idea that the best governance happens at the local level.
How can you surmise that the Castro government can bomb in Angola and bomb in Caracas and bomb in South America and bomb in Chicago, New York, and San Juan and completely skip Miami where there's over 400,000 Cuban exiles?
Locally, civic leadership influences our daily lives through decision-making dependent on specific regional circumstances.
The bureaucracy and the negative approach against builders and developers in this community is such that nothing, in his opinion, could be done in downtown Miami without really going through hell.
This benign idea of local governance, however, hardly characterizes the mayoral tenure of Maurice A. Ferré.
He had everything going. He had wealth, education, charisma. He traveled. In a different time, Maurice should have been at a much higher national office.
It didn't seem like it was personal ambition. He loved people. And he liked to be with people, and people loved him.
I never had really met a government official that was so even when it came to all of the different races and all of the different conflicts in Miami. He was the glue.
The fact is that Maurice Ferré was a Spanish-speaking person who was a leader in the community, and therefore there was an affinity between the cultures. As a matter of fact, in those days, every benefit that accrued to any so-called minority accrued to Cubans and blacks as well, and therefore we also had a kinship or a common agenda.
As mayor of Miami from 1973 to 1985, Ferré became the face of his city's volatile transformation that saw a relatively sleepy Miami with an Anglo power base, suddenly transformed by mass immigration from Cuba and Haiti. Explosive racial conflict.
There's a very serious human problem in this whole process. There's a very serious drama involved in all this, Bob. I think the black community has a lot of reasons to be very upset.
And a violent Colombian drug trade that brought billions in cash into Miami's economy.
A friend of mine, a real estate agent, went to a closing at a house in Coconut Grove, and the buyer showed up with $400,000 in cash in a briefcase.
To me, the most important thing about Maurice Ferré is that he had already been in the driver's seat of Miami for 6 years by the time 1980 comes along. So he has a vision of what he thinks the city should be and how he's going to get it there.
Yet with so much conflict surrounding his 6 terms as mayor, Ferré was able to set into motion a visionary strategy that focused Miami's financial efforts south rather than north, creating incentives for South American banks and businesses to see Miami's potential as an international financial hub.
Maurice Ferré had a vision for the whole community and the whole country.
Look at this city. It's a city transformed. It was transformed thanks to the vision of Maurice Ferré.
His vision became our vision as well.
2 of Latin America's premier television hosts, Cristina, a native daughter of Cuba, and Don Francisco, a native son of Chile.
I started looking then at Miami as a market that we could turn into becoming the capital of the Americas from an entertainment production perspective. I started thinking about Miami as the Hollywood for Latin America.
A new Miami was forming, a modern Miami that would be unrecognizable from the one Ferré inherited.
When he started as mayor, 3% of the population of Miami-Dade was Hispanic. When he left, 40% of the population.
And one of the things that attracted business was the diversity of the marketplace. And the fact that you had a lot of Spanish speakers is a blessing, not a problem.
And that new, modern Miami would lay the groundwork for our current Miami, an international city poised to take its place amongst the world's great cities.
Being in the banking industry, I've seen my grandfather's vision come into fruition, bringing international banks here to Miami, a place where he saw as the center for the North America and also Latin America.
So it's so nice that wonderful green space in downtown Miami was named for him, because he was known for buildings and concrete and really schnazzing up Miami to be the city of the future that it is now.
He had to really convince bankers, world leaders, that Miami was just not another Jacksonville.
But Maurice could look at Miami in terms where Miami was going to be, where none of the people around him had the capacity to even begin to comprehend.
He was willing to stand up for those things that he believed in, despite the opinions of the titular leaders of the private sector, and despite the pressure that's applied by trying to manipulate public opinion through the Miami Herald.
So those obstacles, as we say, were a lot of different interest groups that were not interested in Maurice's vision 10 years from now.
I wrote an article in the Herald, and I said, one of my critiques of Ferré when I was his opponent was that he paid too much attention to the international arena, and now I have to take that back.
In Colombia, I think we also had some good things come out of it. Number one, I think we may get an international banking conference here in sometime in July. And secondly, we're hoping, in conjunction with the Organization of American States, to have a major trade exposition in September in the city of Miami.
But who was Maurice A. Ferré? And how did his call to civic leadership make him the right man at the right time for Miami?
He was the first Puerto Rican, and again, the first Latino to be elected to be the mayor of Miami, which was historical. Things like that did not happen at all in any major city in the United States.
And Maurice's name came up as a source of pride for Puerto Rico. The first Hispanic of a major city to be a mayor was a Puerto Rican here in Miami.
Born into a prominent Puerto Rican family, Maurice was the nephew of Puerto Rico Governor Luis Ferré and sister Isolina Ferré, the only siblings each to have received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Maurice's father, Jose A. Ferré, was an industrialist who came to Miami in the 40s and owned Mall Industries, a South Florida company responsible for substantial development. Maurice attended prep schools in Europe and America before graduating from the University of Miami. While still a teenager, he married his next-door neighbor, Mercedes. They immediately started a family, and together became Miami's most glamorous couple.
He was our Kennedy, right? That was the family. The Kennedy family was the Maurice Ferré family.
They were the right people at the right time in Miami. A lot of people describe it as that, but I tell you, they were the first family.
The power couple in Miami in that era, in the 70s and 80s, was Maurice and Mercedes Ferré, and Mercedes sort of completed this beautiful aristocratic power couple.
While working in the family business, Maurice began his journey into civic leadership. He served in state government before becoming mayor of Miami in 1973. And the rest, as they say, is history. Even after his 12-year tenure as mayor of Miami, Ferré stayed involved in civic leadership by concentrating on issues such as public transportation and affordable housing.
He traveled through Europe and Asia, and he wanted to see those solutions applied. Obviously for him, transportation was big, right? Because transportation was the element to connect and mobilize people.
His passion for transportation was evident. I mean, the rest of us would speak, a fair amount of time on the items. Maurice would expound.
He was one of the first people to understand the idea of regionalism, that it wasn't just the cities within Miami and the municipalities within Miami-Dade County working together, but the best opportunity to leverage federal dollars from Washington was to work in tandem with Broward County, with Palm Beach County, and you saw the forerunners for the tri-rail system that he helped put into place.
He became a mentor for aspiring civic leaders, journalists, and business people.
He was a great role model. I can just imagine him on the dais talking about those matters that he cared about so much.
I went down and talked with him about, should we or shouldn't we do this? How could we do this? What kind of paper should it be? What should the content be? And he was very liberal in terms of free with his advice.
My wife, Sonia, is one of his grandchildren. He really, to me, exemplified one of those public servants and elder statesmen who was constantly trying to help people and trying to do the right thing, even when no one was watching.
He pushed me to do what I did today. And I will forever be grateful to him for that.
And now the legacy of Maurice A. Ferré, the father of modern Miami, lives on with the Florida International University Ferré Institute for Civic Leadership.
The Maurice A. Ferré Institute for Civic Leadership in the Stephen J. Green School of International and Public Affairs at Florida International University is dedicated to promoting civic leadership, engagement, and promoting democracy and social justice through academic, research, and community-oriented programs.
Through the Ferré Institute, I've been able to present my research at top conferences, as well as giving me the leverage and the office space to feel comfortable and do this research and even conduct some interviews.
Learning how to connect with our representatives, learning about the voting system here, how does it work, how to connect with representatives from both local and federal levels.
Ferré has been the true inspiration to me getting here. I saw how much of a difference one can make in this major. I saw how you can affect your community, how you can advocate, how you can be a young leader.
And with the new Green Family Building at the FIU campus, the Ferré Institute will have a permanent home that will guide future civic leaders in the principles that helped make Maurice A. Ferré one of the most important leaders in modern American politics.
My takeaway is that America was blessed by his willingness to engage in serving all of the citizens of Florida.
I've spent my life in Miami doing a lot of the things that I saw him do. And so it trickles down. And that's the important thing. It didn't leave with him.
I think that Maurice Ferré understood the lessons of history, was a lifelong learner, and always wanted to be in a place where he could make a difference, and therefore led a life of extraordinary difference and example that transcends this community, way beyond it.
Maurice clearly was the father of modern-day Miami. He saw its potential. He worked to bring people together to build the city of the future. I think if we look at the city today, we can truly say it's in his legacy.
I think Miami is destined to be what it's destined to be with or without me. I don't think that is going to change one iota. I think what's going to happen is going to happen anyway. What I think I do is accelerate the process.
Beverly McFarland, Channel 4 News, Miami.